X-Men Days of Future Past, the movie. Here, here's my quick little review of the film. I saw it twice, and being an X-Men fan and watching all the movies X-Men related that Fox has ever produced, first trilogy, two Wolverines, the first reboot, and now this. So that makes 7 films. I have to say I am quite impressed at the direction the franchise is going. Now, going back to the movie, if you read the comic books, you're probably going to wonder how are they going to make a movie out of that comic? There's so much in it. What I liked about the movie is that they kept it simple. Basic plot, apocalyptic future, travel back in time. I know, yeah. Travel back in time, rewrite history, and save all mutant kind. So very, very simple. Now, how do you do that? You send Wolverine back in time, or his mind back into his younger self. Instead of in the comic books, it was Kitty Pryde who went back to her younger self, but here she was the catalyst for doing such. So it was still okay. And what you have to understand, if you're a big comic fanboy, the cinematic universe will never be the same as a comic book. So you've just got to go with it. And to me personally, I thought they did a good job with this one. Some of the elements of the comic book were there. They sort of adapted it within the framework of the Vietnam War. It was great because since we're coming from the Cuban Missile Crisis, then you go into Vietnam, and then the next installment is going to be in the 80s. So I thought that was a very, very smart choice. The whole plot story I thought was credible. I'm glad they kept it simple, as I mentioned, and the way the scenes of going back into the future and that scene where the two Professor Xaviers meet up in a psychic bond, to me, it was very believable. I like the fact that it wasn't so disturbing or distracting to the plot when you're watching it. The scenes go from future to past, to future and past. I mean, that's the title of the movie. And I'm glad it wasn't as disturbing as that. And the way they all wrapped up the whole thing, I like the fact that they've sort of rebooted the entire X-Men universe for the cinematic universe. It's in the same vein as how the reboot of the Star Trek happened. They've changed history with a single event in the first reboot that sort of that changes everything about the history of Star Trek. And the same thing here. I personally thought the X-Men 3, The Last Stand, was a bit too abrupt. It was too emotionally, it ended at a very emotional low point that you felt bad after watching the film, and it did not put the mutants to glory. With the way this movie ended, and I don't think it's spoiler enough. I mean, the movie's been out for a while. I'm sure everyone's seen it. The way the movie ended, it gives well, the producers, at least, or the studios, a chance to do more stories, to do alternate stories than what they did in that previous trilogy. They brought everybody back to life. Nobody died, which was really, really, I thought it was a bad choice. I thought killing off the major characters in The Last Stand was like a big mistake. It was a very tragic ending, and man, it didn't sit well with a lot of the fans. And now that they've sort of rebooted it, we get to see that maybe the first 2 X-Men films did happen, but the third one obviously did not happen anymore. The reboot definitely happened. The Cuban Missile Crisis definitely happened because it's still in the same timeline. It's now canon. Because Days of Future Past is canon. Did the first 2 Wolverine, the first 2 Wolverine movies happen? Well, maybe. First one is just the history of Logan. Maybe it sort of happened, some events there. Wolverine 2, did he go to Japan? He could still possibly go to Japan, but some people say it's still a possibility. But he went to Japan because the whole school was a mess after The Last Stand, and everybody was dead, and he was depressed. He wanted to get away from it all. So that last scene in Japan, that's Xavier's back and Magneto's with him, maybe it could still have happened. Either way, what's important is it gives a new lease. It's given the franchise a new lease on life, and it's a great closure to the trilogy, to the original trilogy. That, it's a big sigh of relief that the third one movie probably did not happen. You see Jean Grey at the end of the movie with that ominous-looking red dress. Is she still the Phoenix or not? You never know. It's hard to say that. Will we see more movies with the old cast? Maybe some cameos. I don't think it's... Right now, I think it's still too early to say whether fans are gonna say, "Oh, bring back Picard and Gandalf. Come on, we got to see more of them now that you've rebooted everything." Maybe later on. Folks want to see now, especially the non-comic fanboys, non-comic book fans, fanboys and fangirls. They want to see young, fresh faces to it. So, with the closure being done, the perfect closure, or a positive closure on the first trilogy, a new trilogy can arise. And who knows? Maybe we get to see more of the old cast in later on films once the current young cast's trilogy is over. Maybe we get to see them again. Then again, who knows? The important thing is it's been rebooted, and it's great. It's great for the fans. It's great for the studios. Going back to the story, going back to the movie, full of cast, fantastic cast members. Even if each one had small roles. I mean, a lot of people say it was a story again about Wolverine, but I thought it was a story about Mystique, about Raven. Oh, Jennifer Lawrence beautifully, brilliantly did that part. Speaking Vietnamese, French, doing all that martial arts, acting wise is phenomenal as it is, but with all that stuff, I mean, her career can only go up. She's made wonderful choices. She's been a very versatile actress. She's done all these films, drama, comedy, action, adventure, wonderful. And then you get the older X-Men, and then you get the younger X-Men. Brilliant cast. Beast was phenomenal. The two Professor Xavier's were great. Magneto's, both young and old, were amazing. And even the supporting cast of mutants were great. And there was just enough comic book aspects of the movie just to keep the fanboys happy, but not to overwhelm the non-comic book readers. So I thought it was pretty cool. It didn't do too much. It left you feeling just a little bit hungry, leaving the dinner table just a little bit hungry, and that's the important thing. You don't get satiated with too much special effects and mutants and comic book stuff. The whole story gets muddled because of the special effects and all that mutant power. So, very nice. Just a few things I'd like to comment. So again, the movie to me is a 10 out of 10. I don't care what the critics are saying that maybe they could have done better, but it's fine. I love it as it is. Brilliant, and everyone kept true to character. The plot was simple, direct. Comic book fans are gonna love it. Non-comic book readers definitely gonna enjoy it as it is. So, but if you did not watch the previous movies, you could still get it. But my advice is, before you watch Days of Future Past, it might be nice if you watch the trilogies, the original trilogy, and the first reboot, the First Class movie, X-Men First Class. Now, just a few things I'd like to mention for maybe the producers. Once they do these reboots, once the universe has been rebooted, they're going to do a lot of stories. I just wish, one, they'd put a lot more story into Cyclops. Cyclops seems to be just a supporting role in this cinematic universe. Well, in the comic book, he is a major player. I mean, he's the leader of the X-Men, more than Wolverine and Storm. And Storm has been, even Storm, been low played, just very low-key players. It's a focus on Wolverine, Rogue, Mystique, Professor Xavier, Magneto. I mean, okay, fine, that's fine and all. And I get the idea that, they could not clutter the movie too much with too many superstars. But Cyclops needs to have an important role in the cinematic universe, and I do hope they do a story on him. And not just like a cameo or a supporting role. Just I wish they'd do something like Wolverine. I'm afraid that maybe the producers are thinking Cyclops is boring. Well, maybe for a non-comic book reader, but you know, give it a chance. Also, the characters in this movie, very familiar characters. It's just that there were some discrepancies in the powers. This is just nitpicking. I mean, I'm fine with the way it turned out. They had to change a few things, but like Bishop, his power is mainly a gun and energy absorption to power his gun. He's supposed to be able to project energy blast, not just a gun. So he charges up, fine. I get that. I like that. But he does not blast you with energy projections. He just has a gun and projects it. A little tweaking there and here, but you know, to me, especially the fact that Bishop was created by a Filipino artist, I kind of wanted the movie to stay true to his powers and abilities. He was like a dynamo. He absorbed power and then released it, just like Sebastian Shaw. That's the power he should have had. Yeah. Anyway, then we have Sunspot. Sunspot was more like not Firestar. Firestar is a girl. Shiro. The name slips me. Sunfire. There you go. He should have been Sunfire, but he wasn't Japanese. But his powers were like Sunfire, and not Sunspot. Sunspot would absorb energy, and he would turn black, and he would have super strength and a little bit of flight. That's it. He did not project flames. So, yeah. Okay. Blink, but that's nitpicking again. Blink, brilliant. I like that. I like that kind of adaptation on Blink. Yeah, very, very close enough for me. Almost too close, but good enough. Colossus, great. Storm, you know, despite what a lot of people are saying that Storm was miscast with Halle Berry. I like Halle Berry. Yes, she's not the perfect actress for the role, but you know, she's done 4 films with Storm. I like her, and I'm happy with her. And now because of the reboot, they can get another actress with a younger, fresher take for Storm. Okay, but don't crucify Halle Berry for being miscast as Storm. I thought she was okay. She was more than okay. I wish they had put Rogue in. She was part of the credits. Anna Paquin. Come on. I mean, she was there in the ending, but she would have been really great if she was part of the cast of mutants defending that pagoda against the Sentinel in the future. She would have been awesome. A rogue defense. I mean, yeah. More nitpicking. Warpath. He was a little bit too thin. He was supposed to be a bruiser. He was big, and he had that ability to track Sentinels. Okay, he was a tracker, but to track Sentinels, okay, fine, we'll do that. But I wish he would have been bigger, more like Batista or David Bautista of the guy who played Drax. He should be something that big. Not he's a little bit thin. Who else? Beast turning into the Beast like a la Hulk. Okay, I get that. I get what you're trying to do. You don't have Hulk in your list of portfolio because of, you know, you don't have the Avengers and Fox wants their own version of the Hulk. Okay, I'll give them that. Then you get Quicksilver, and you get to see a little bit his little sister, Wanda. Quicksilver was brilliant. I thought they executed it well. I mean, Joss Whedon has been saying that their Quicksilver version of Quicksilver is going to be a lot better than that. They got a lot of work to do. I mean, Fox gave them a run for their money with their Quicksilver, and I thought it was great. It was a wonderful, wonderful character, Pietro. Amazing in the movie. So just a few things. I mean, those are little minor things. I mean, if you're a comic book fan, fanboy of X-Men, I mean, you notice those things. But you know, if you're just watching the movie for what it is, I thought everything was executed very well, and I thought this was much better than Amazing Spider-Man. I loved the Amazing Spider-Man, and and Amazing Spider-Man 2, but this one really good, really good. And I thought this was a lot better than the first, the X-Men First Class, and I could not imagine how they could top that. It was very good. So there you go, folks. That's my little bit longish, quick and dirty review of X-Men Days of Future Past, the movie. It's a great film. If you haven't seen it, my goodness, you got to go ahead and see it. If you've enjoyed this video, if you did, please click the thumbs up icon at the bottom. Follow me on Twitter for my toy purchases, Instagram for my toy sightings here in Manila. Check out all my video reviews and hauls here on this channel, Chefatron. There you go. Movie review of X-Men, The Days of Future Past. Thanks for watching.